we are all different. So we all understand that basic principle that hey, we're all different and we have different skills and but I have I have a friend who describes a lot of people as the Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. So something like zombies.
Automatically they are doing everything without enjoy, without
Yeah, and
to do
it's not. You see, the confusing thing for me is I don't think. I truly don't think that it's not that these people are not intelligent. It's that their intelligence is not activated.
yes,
Like
because
there's like
everybody has brain
yeah,
and
yeah,
these cells and
yeah.
everything.
For example, the woman, the classical woman who works in the government office collecting data and checking forms and things. It's a boring job. It's a terrible job. It's a tiring job, and yet she goes home and she cleans her home and she knows how to cook. She cooks food and she knows about the what needs to be done around the house and garden and she knows about the flowers and the trees and the plants and all those things that need to be done. But there's no there's there's nothing outside of that picture. There's a spark which is not there in these people, and I think that it's yeah, as you said, everybody has a brain, and everybody has the possibility and the opportunity. It's not turned on. It's not started, and it unfortunately in most people's lives it usually takes a yeah, it takes a shock. It takes a shock to to start. Yeah, so they need this shock because the shock forces them to make a decision. And making a decision is the difference between success and failure, the difference between life and death, the difference between progress going forward and regress going backwards. And suddenly they have to make a decision. It could be it could be their partner dies or their friend dies. It could be yeah, it could be the house catches fire and burns to the ground or um
Small shocks are not work.
That's it said perfectly. That was it said absolutely perfectly. The small the small shocks just have no effect. You can poke these people as much as you yeah as much as you want. They don't feel it or they ignore it or they pretend it's not happening. They block it out. They're so focused on their own thing that
This is live. We are people. I know this. Do know.
yeah, absolutely. Their head is down. They're focusing on their own thing. They don't want to make connections with other
No, it's
people.
okay.
They're
I hold this situation.
mm,
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah, exactly. It's like there's a fly, right? It's like there's a fly there's a fly in the room, and they're going fly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It doesn't.
It's
It's
100% true, G.
yeah, and oh, it's crazy because we see these people on autopilot. We
Yes,
see
understand.
we see the
Yes.
we see these people on autopilot all around us, all in yeah out on the street, driving. The crazy thing is these people have jobs. They go to work. They drive cars. They have kids. They go on holiday.
Yes, they are living. They are living. But
Oh yeah, there's well, for me it is extremely interesting because I really don't understand how I don't understand how people function in that state of mind, in that kind. I don't understand. Um, my thinking is different from their thinking. Let's put it that way, right? Yeah, yeah, but it's visible that the way that I think about a problem is different from the way they think about a problem. In fact, where I see a problem, they see nothing.
Yes.
Very,
This
very often.
100% was everybody genius.
Yeah,
For everybody is problem something different.
yeah, absolutely. So, um, I define it like this. So here's my definition. There are three very, very simple stages to human psychological growth and development. We all grow physically. The physical growth is almost automatic if we eat the right kinds of foods. If we eat the wrong kinds of, yeah, even if you eat the wrong kinds of foods, you can even grow bigger, right? So so at the first level, and this is the what I call the pyramid of connection or connectivity or connectedness. It's um, I will explain. Three stages. The first stage is alive. Second stage is awake. The third stage is aware. We are.
There I don't understand.
We will get there. We will get there. We will get there because you are already there. You are already there. I will explain to you how and why. We are all alive. We're all zombies. We're all zombies. we all start life as sort of my friend describes babies as useless screaming cabbages, but I don't agree with that. But I think it's funny. Okay, beautiful, beautiful new creations of life. Um, we're all alive. Um, we're all breathing. We can all communicate with each other in some way. Stop. Right? Stop. This is level one. Some people stop here. Right? Some people stop here. They can communicate, they are alive, they are breathing, but that's it. That's it. There's nothing more.
Level animals. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
Eat, breathe,
yeah.
have
If you
children.
if you know Henry Kissinger is somebody who worked in international diplomacy, organizing agreements between countries. And he is still alive today, and he has done this for 30 or 40 years. Some people think he's a genius, and some people think he's a war criminal. Some of the things that he did were very good, and some of the things that he did were very bad. Um,
He did something.
yeah, but he did something when other people didn't do things. That's a big difference. Now, he described people as useless eaters, as
I understand.
eaters, just they just eat, right? Useless eaters, which is basically animalistic. Yeah,
As well.
but animals are more intelligent than that because animals don't eat too much. When
You cannot go to details, do you know?
okay, I get it. Okay, yeah, okay, the details are different. But when was the last time you saw a lion that was so fat that
Lion cannot be fed.
well, that's what I'm saying. Animals don't overeat, right? They don't do that. They don't get fat. When was the last time you saw a horse or a zebra or a giraffe that was really fat and couldn't. See, they don't do that.
Possible.
Yeah,
Only home animals. Yet this is different because they felt this nature feelings, you know. Because
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing revelation. See, I never thought about that before. That the wild animals are all living in harmony with nature. Well, they kill each other, but they're living in harmony with nature and within the balance of nature, within the laws of the universe.
with
Yeah,
their self too in
yeah,
balance. Yes, no.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. But the animals that we domesticate, that we keep at home, they're the animals with all the health problems.
Yes, no, because they
Because we
felt this.
yeah, because the food that they eat is all processed and bad, and we inject them with vaccinations, and we don't even know what's in the injections, and we microchip them because we don't want to lose them, and they don't get enough exercise, and they're stuck in a confined, closed space or area a lot of the time. And they don't have any companionship or friends. They don't get enough love and attention. They don't understand the needs of a community of animals, and they're not free. They're not free. And this is exactly the same thing that we do with people.
White people, domestic people.
Well, this is what a lot of the modern world is, the domestication of people. Because the truth is that in history, people were very wild. And a classic example of that is
Free.
and free and free. And yeah, question mark. Yes, yes and no. Yeah, people were we,
Yes and no.
yeah, because
Yes.
if you lived here 200 years ago, you are not really that free.
Yes. See, I understand.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
take this thing
yeah, because
back.
because no, I know what you're saying, because we didn't have to do this and this and this and this and this. Yeah. We didn't have to pay. Yeah. Laws, rules, taxes, information. We
And this everything connects us, and we cannot do free solution. Solution? No, this is
yeah. So what we have is the domestication of people, the same way that we domesticate animals, because we say you should live like this, you should go to school here, this is your transportation, you should study these kind of subjects, and
I don't know. Maybe.
mhm. Yeah, well, the one of the great illusions or tricks of the system is that it's really, really hard to know where the system is, because we call it the system. Yeah, we call it the system, but it's everywhere and nowhere, because it's like the principle of. Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I'll finish the thought. It's like the principle of. It's the same principle with government. The word government creates something which actually doesn't exist. What exists in reality is people and buildings. That's what's real. People are real, and buildings are real. A government is an illusion, because there is no government. There are only people and buildings. And when we say the government, we create something which is not real. So you don't fight against the people, you don't fight against the buildings, you fight against the government, which is something which actually doesn't exist. And so you waste your time and your energy trying to change something which in essence is not actually real. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very well said. Yeah, it's like trying to catch a shadow. Yeah. Yeah, and this is it's part of the magic and the majesty and the wonder of the whole system, which is they those people who create the systems, they maybe at the beginning they create them for the right reasons. Maybe they create them because they want to help. But eventually every system every system becomes corrupt eventually. It's the natural process of time. The same way that every house eventually falls down. Every house, every building eventually is destroyed. And it's the same way with every system. Everything we build eventually becomes destroyed. Becomes destroyed, can I say that? It eventually falls down. It eventually deteriorates. It becomes worse and worse and worse over time. You know, we cannot live today in houses that were built 200 years ago. Unless they were big castles, right? But that wouldn't be all that comfortable unless you have modern things in the castles. But and so it's the same with the systems. Maybe at the beginning they're fantastic, and maybe they work. Maybe I'm trying to focus on the positive here, right? Let's yeah.
When something is connected with government, be positive. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I. So I have this. I am going to be really, really, really honest now. I'm going to be very honest. It's. We all know that honesty is the only thing that is important. Telling the truth is the only thing that's important. But what happens when people tell the truth is they get nailed like Jesus to a cross when they tell the truth. Because that's what I was, that's what they were saying. You tell the truth, but we're going to nail you to a cross because we know better than you. The truth is, I have set up a new system online to help teachers, to try to help teachers, and the connection is that teachers work for the government. Okay. Teachers work for the government. Well, no, let's say teachers work for themselves, but they're paid by the government, right? They're paid. So where the money comes from is important. Follow the money. So I want to create a forum, a place where teachers can meet and they can talk and they can tell the truth. I want to create this online. I want to create this forum for talking about the deeper problems that exist within the system. Not just the problems on the surface, but the deeper problems that exist, because they are there for the people that want to see them. And I really want to help teachers, not because I know more than teachers, not because of that, because I think teachers can help each other. When we bring teachers together, there can be a synergy and they can work together. Those people who want to. Those people who want to.
And they have to be open and
Yep, you're absolutely right. They have to want it and they have to be open to it. And I am meeting so much resistance. It is unbelievable. Resistance. Pushing back at me. I'm going this way and the resistance is pushing me back. So I am meeting so much resistance and so much pressure. It is unbelievable. And I know a few other people who have tried the same thing and they all met the same problem. They all met the same problem, which was resistance and the okay. Here's a big thought, which is kind of crazy, but what is perfect totalitarianism from total control? Totalitarianism. Totalitarianism would be absolute perfect dictatorship. Yeah, dictatorship. When you have one leader, one ruler of a country, and he's all powerful, and there's no government or elections. Ceausescu, Stalin, Hitler. Who was the Italian one? Mussolini, right? So, Fico. Yeah, for example. Yeah. What would be the perfect totalitarian culture? The perfect totalitarian culture would be when, if we let's take an analogy. Let's say you have the sheep, ba, okay. You have the sheepdog, arf, 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 arf. There's another sheep and another sheep. There we go. And you have the shepherd, right? So here we have a basic system of control. The shepherd controls the dog controls the sheep. This is an analogy for our planet, right? This is an analogy for, I don't know, governments and corporations and
everywhere exists this structure.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with basic pyramids, because we have grandparents, parents, children. There's a pyramid. So yeah, there's a, you want to build something, a pyramid is a relatively safe structure. So, but what would happen in a perfect totalitarian culture? In a perfect totalitarian culture, the shepherd would be, put my feet up and relax. And the dog would be, in a perfect, put my feet up and relax, because the sheep would control each other, right? The sheep would check each other. The sheep would observe each other. The sheep would say, no, don't do that, because sheep don't do that. And they would say that to each other, right? Right? That would be the perfect totalitarian culture. And what I am meeting in my forum online is that, I'm meeting this perfect totality, which is that other teachers, the teachers are controlling and checking each other and even attacking each other. They're in the same profession, doing the same job for the same reasons, but they attack each other just the same way that the sheep would keep each other as sheep. Yeah, and this is an example of a manifestation, a real world today example of perfect socialism e- existing, and nobody sees it. Nobody sees it because I'm not even sure why they don't see it. I mean, one of the reasons could be their IQ is just not high enough to see it. Another reason could be social conditioning over a long period of time, so much time spent in primary school and secondary school and university that they don't see any other world, lack of worldly experiences, not realizing that there are other opportunities and possibilities, or just some part of the brain not working, or even the people get broken over time. They fight and they fight and they fight, and then they give up. They're tired. They don't have the energy. It's just, yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult to be the fish swimming upstream when all the water is coming back down. And so eventually they get tired and they go with the mainstream of everything. And I don't know if it's right or wrong to do that. It's probably not wrong, but it's just extremely frustrating being on the outside and watching things happen and thinking you could all be helping each other. Why are you hurting each other and not helping each other? And one of my aims, which is really dangerous and will probably get me in a lot of trouble, is to shock them. Because oh, you can't. You can't. Everyone who fights the system loses. That's the story of Jesus Christ. That's everyone who fights the system loses. That's the story of Jesus Christ. That's the story of John F. Kennedy. That's the story of Martin Luther King. That's the story of Malcolm X. That's the story of John Lennon. That's the story of 100,000 of Gandhi, of 100,000 other people in history that we don't even know about because we didn't have media and technology to tell us that these people existed. And and maybe that's the positive thing about the modern technology, is that we can now use it to help us. But it's fascinating. There must be, it's fascinating to observe this. Yeah, it's fascinating to take a step back and to observe people's actions, reactions, emotions, and motions, and to see what happens where, and how people move and how people react, and how these people form groups to protect each other and these people form groups to protect each other. And and once you get a person into a group, it's like you have them. Once you get them into a group, it's like you've got them. Yeah. Because they develop the habits of the group, they develop a relationship with the group, they bond and connect with the group, and very often they can't live without the group. And it doesn't matter if it's logical or not logical after a period of time, because they can't live without the group. So everything that is not the group, there's the group, and around it, everything that is not the group is like the enemy. Because you have to protect the group, because it's your group, it's your tribe, it's your culture, it's your way of life. And so people just attack things that are different. It's like, ooh, different, attack. And I see this very clearly when I say that I'm not sure about this, and people say, oh, well, you must support this, which is the opposite, right? I'm not sure about this on the left. Oh, you can't support the right. I didn't say I was supporting this. I just said I'm not sure about this. I think people are looking to create conflict. They are looking to make problems. It's fascinating. There's a lot of things that I like, and there's a lot of things that I don't like about the way that the world is organized. But there is one thing that I respect. And I try to imagine this in my head. I try to imagine the situation. I try to go back in time. Doesn't matter, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, to take a step back in time. And I try to imagine being the philosopher king. The philosopher king. There were different kinds of kings in history. There was the there was the brutal dictator king. There was the warrior king. And there was the benevolent dictator. No, sorry, no. Just benevolent. No. I said. Sorry, I said that wrong. That was. Yeah, just the wrong word came out. I'm sorry. The benevolent philosopher king. Right. So let me repeat that. Let me get this right. If we take a step back in time, we go back, say, 100, 200, 300 years, and we imagine standing at the top of the pyramid, at the top of the world, at the top of society, looking down. And we do this from the perspective of the benevolent philosopher king. There were some throughout history. There were some. And not the warrior king and not the dictator king. And we look at the world and we think, oh my God, right? We look down at society and we look at the people and we think, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with this? Like, there's a story about one of the French kings going back in history, like 200 years, that he had a big palace on the edge of Paris. And one day he opened his windows to a beautiful, warm summer morning. And the smell of the city came into his room. The stench and the stink and it had to be bad. It had to be bad. And it was so strong and so bad that he wanted to be sick, like he wanted to throw up. And then thinking, we can't live like this, right? This is crazy. We can't live in these conditions, in this way. We cannot progress like this. This is a mess. This madness, absolute madness. Yeah, madness, craziness. Yeah. So there was a problem, and the dictator king would be, tell these people to change or raise the taxes and collect more money, and or something like that. This will change them. And the warrior king would be, just kill them all. And the philosopher king would think, we have to do something. We have to do something. We can't. If we ask them to change, it's not going to work. If we tell them to change, it's not going to work. If we force them to change, it's not going to work. What are we going to do? We can't live like this. There has to be a way that everybody can live together and it not be madness. There has to be a way. And so what they did was they formed committees and groups and societies and what are now called non-government organizations and think tanks. And they brought together people who were considered to be intelligent, and they said, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with society like this? What are we going to do with this world? We can't just let it be like this. This is crazy. It's not good for them, and because it's not good for them, it's not good for us. We can't grow if they don't grow. So they brought together these groups, and it was a big problem. The children copy the habits of their parents. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Except if you want society to progress forward, you can't expect change if the new generation is the same as the old generation. So we have to do something for society to progress. What are we going to do? And there is only one answer to that question. We have to take the children away from the parents. We have to take the children away from the parents, because if we don't, the children will just copy their parents, and the new generation will be exactly the same as the old generation, and nothing will ever change, and nothing will ever progress, and nothing will ever get better. And anyone with a brain or basic intellect can see that that is the only possible solution to that problem. You cannot re-educate adults when they are already adults. You can only educate children to be a certain way when they grow up. And so the solution to the problem of how do we help society progress, how do we clean up the world, was school, which is basically we are taking the children away from the parents so that we can give the children an opportunity that they don't have with their parents, which is the opportunity to be different and the opportunity to be better. And that was the original reason for the development of school and schooling systems, not just in Europe, but throughout the entire world. And so it originally was a benevolent idea that we can make society better. There wasn't this negative, we can control, if we have the children, then we have the society and the future is ours. It wasn't like that at the beginning. It really was a group of interested and caring people who wanted everything to be better. But sadly, over time, this idea got lost over time. This idea that we can give children a bit more structured freedom, which is what was really the answer to the problem. The answer to the problem was that they were relatively free when they were with their parents, but it wasn't structured freedom where they could learn something new. They were just repeating the same things again and again and again and again. We needed to give them new experiences. And this concept of school could introduce people to new ideas and new experiences. It could introduce people to reading and writing. And through this, they could expand their ideas, and they could grow and develop and learn about how to live on a slightly higher level. And somewhere, somehow, through time, this idea just disappeared. To the point now where we have a giant system where no one is really quite sure what the main point of everything is. You know, is it to pass the test? Is it to get a good job? Is it to be the best person that you can be? Is it to get new experiences? Is it to is it to get the students to learn the basics no matter what? And we are left with confusion and conflict and repression and a whole series of negative results, and it saddens me. It makes me feel sad when I think about it, because we still have today great opportunities and potential with technology. I always go back to technology. With technology, to return to a type of renaissance. The Renaissance was the explosion, and the Renaissance and Enlightenment was the explosion of arts and culture and writing, creativity within Europe. And we now have a chance to do that again. And returning to my original point is that I am saying to people, hey, come and join me. Let's build. Let's grow. Let's take that step forward. And people are pulling me back saying, no, what are you doing? Get off the internet. Oh, crazy person, different ideas. Destroy, kill. And I am my emotional response to this is something called bewilderment, which is what? It's just, I'm not going to think about that because there's no logic, so there's no point. Where there is no logic, there is no point. So I'm living in bewilderment. I'm just confused by it all, because how I'm amazed that society functions. I'm amazed that the trains and the buses run on time. The planes. How did we get so organized that we could plan air travel to the perfect second all over the world? You know, landing and taking off and transferring passengers and moving things around. How did we get to the point where we could do these extremely complex activities with great precision? And yet, our schools are so disorganized. It's unbelievable. And these are the amazing contrasts that exist in the world. The contrast that on one side we can on one side we can build a space station and have it circling the planet, and on the other side people are still living in caves, painting the walls in parts of the world.